The shuttle touched down with a soft thud, its landing pads sinking slightly into the lush, emerald grass. As the ramp descended, a gust of fresh, untainted air rushed in, carrying the sense of a world teeming with life. The alien students, their various forms silhouetted against the planet's verdant landscape, stepped out one by one. Their eyes, some with multiple irises and others glowing faintly, widened with awe. Cade, a lanky youth with iridescent scales, led the group. His luminescent skin flickered with excitement as he gazed at the panorama before him. Earth was nothing like his arid, monochrome home planet of Zerfax. Beside him, Thala, a creature of willowy build with tendrils for hair, marveled at the towering trees, her sensory filaments twitching in curiosity. "Remember, team," Cade's voice buzzed with a mixture of enthusiasm and caution. "We're here to study, but safety comes first. Earth's beauty hides many dangers." The group nodded, their diverse appendages and limbs gesturing agreement. They split into smaller teams, each armed with sophisticated gadgets designed to analyze the planet's flora and fauna. Cade and Thala led the way into a nearby forest, where bioluminescent plants glowed faintly in the underbrush. "This place is incredible," Thala whispered, her eyes darting from one glowing mushroom to another. "But we must stay vigilant. Earth's reputation isn't just for show." They moved deeper into the forest, the canopy above them thickening, casting dappled shadows on the forest floor. Suddenly, the ground trembled. A low rumble echoed through the trees, sending flocks of startled birds into the air. "What was that?" Cade asked, his scales shimmering with unease. Before anyone could answer, a swarm of tiny, iridescent insects burst from the undergrowth, their wings producing a high-pitched whine. Cade's communicator buzzed urgently as it identified the threat, paralyzing stingers. The students' advanced technology faltered, unable to repel the sheer number of the tiny attackers. "Run!" Cade shouted, grabbing Thala's arm. They sprinted through the forest, the swarm hot on their heels. The other students scattered, their shouts mingling with the hum of the insects. Cade and Thala stumbled into a clearing, their breaths ragged. Thinking quickly, Cade spotted a hollowed tree trunk. "In here," he urged, pushing Thala inside before diving in after her. They huddled together, listening to the angry buzz of the swarm as it passed by. After a tense few minutes, the noise faded. Thala exhaled, her tendrils drooping in relief. "That was too close. Our tech should have worked." Cade nodded, his mind racing. "Earth is more unpredictable than we thought. We'll need to rely on more than just our gadgets." They emerged from the trunk, scanning their surroundings cautiously. Cade activated his communicator, trying to locate the rest of their team. Static filled the airwaves, but faint signals indicated that everyone was regrouping at their base camp. As they made their way back, the ground shook again, this time more violently. Trees swayed, and a distant roar grew louder. Cade's eyes widened in realization. "Earthquake! We need to move now!" Thala and Cade ran, dodging falling branches and debris. They reached a rocky outcrop just as the ground beneath them heaved, splitting open to reveal a dark chasm. Panting, they clung to each other, the reality of Earth's dangers sinking in. "We can't underestimate this planet," Thala said, her voice firm despite the fear in her eyes. Cade nodded, determination hardening his features. "We won't. We're going to survive this field trip, no matter what." The first day on Earth had tested their resolve, but Cade knew this was only the beginning. The true challenges lay ahead, and he was ready to face them, united with his team against a world that seemed bent on their destruction. The makeshift base camp buzzed with activity as the students regrouped, shaken but unbroken. Cade and Thala arrived last, their clothes torn and faces smudged with dirt. Their fellow students, equally disheveled, exchanged relieved glances as they reunited. "Status report," Cade ordered, his voice steady despite the turmoil of the day. He scanned the faces of his team, noting the exhaustion etched into their features. Jax, a burly alien with rocky skin, stepped forward. "We lost some equipment to the quake and the swarm, but no casualties." Thala nodded, her tendrils twitching as she adjusted a damaged sensor. We need to reassess our strategy. Earth is more hazardous than we anticipated. Cade agreed, his mind racing. First, we repair what we can. Then, we establish a more secure perimeter. We can't afford another surprise. As they worked, a distant noise reached their ears. A low, rumbling hum that grew louder. Cade's heart pounded. "What now?" he muttered. The source of the noise soon became clear. A convoy of human vehicles appeared, their headlights cutting through the gathering dusk. The students tensed, their alien features reflecting a mix of fear and curiosity. "Humans," Thala whispered, her eyes widening. "What do we do?" Cade straightened, his scales shimmering with determination. "We approach cautiously. They might help, or they might be another threat." The vehicles stopped a short distance away, and a group of humans emerged. They were armed but not immediately hostile. A man in front, tall with a rugged demeanor, raised a hand in greeting. "Greetings," he called out. "We mean no harm. I'm Captain Harris. We saw your crash site and thought you might need assistance." Cade stepped forward, his posture diplomatic. "We are explorers from the planet Zerfax. Our mission is scientific, not hostile. But Earth has proven challenging." Captain Harris nodded, his expression understanding. "This planet can be unforgiving. We can offer shelter and supplies, but you'll need to trust us." Thala glanced at Cade, her tendrils twitching anxiously. "Can we trust them?" she asked softly. Cade hesitated, weighing their options. The humans could be a valuable resource, but their motives were unclear. Yet, with Earth's unpredictability, they had little choice. "We accept your offer," Cade said finally, extending a hand. "But we remain cautious." Captain Harris shook his hand firmly. "Wise decision. Follow us. Our camp is nearby." The convoy led them through the dense forest to a well-fortified encampment. The human settlement was a stark contrast to their rudimentary base camp, with sturdy structures and advanced surveillance systems. Inside a large tent, they gathered around a table strewn with maps and data. Captain Harris introduced his team, a diverse group of men and women, each with a specific expertise. Their cooperation was tentative but necessary. "We've encountered these threats before," Harris explained, pointing to a map of the surrounding area. "Quakes, aggressive wildlife, unpredictable weather. It's a daily struggle, but we've survived by working together." Cade nodded, absorbing the information. "Our technology can help with your defenses, and your experience can guide us. We have much to offer each other." As they strategized, a sense of uneasy camaraderie began to form. The humans and aliens shared their knowledge, their survival instincts uniting them against a common foe, Earth itself. Night fell, casting long shadows over the encampment. The alliance was fragile, built on mutual need and wary trust. But as they prepared for the challenges ahead, Cade felt a flicker of hope. They were no longer alone in this hostile world. With newfound allies, they might just survive this field trip after all. The morning sun cast a golden hue over the human-alien encampment, stirring the occupants from their restless slumber. Cade stretched, his scales glinting in the dawn light, and surveyed the bustling camp. The previous night's alliance had bolstered their spirits, but a sense of unease lingered in the air. Thala approached, her tendrils wrapped around a steaming mug. "Good morning," she said softly, offering the drink to Cade. "It's a blend of local herbs. The humans call it tea." Cade took the mug, the warmth seeping into his hands. "Thank you, Thala. How are the repairs coming along?" "We've made progress," she replied, her eyes scanning the camp. "But there's still much to do. Earth's unpredictability keeps throwing us curveballs." Captain Harris joined them, his expression grim. "Morning. We need to talk about our next steps. Our scouts reported unusual activity to the north. We should investigate." Cade nodded, setting the mug aside. "Agreed. We need to understand every threat this planet throws at us." A small team was assembled. Cade, Thala, Jax, and 2 human soldiers. They moved cautiously through the dense forest, the canopy above filtering sunlight into a mosaic of shadows. The air was thick with humidity, and the sounds of wildlife created a constant background symphony. Jax, his rocky skin blending with the forest floor, led the way with a handheld scanner. "I'm picking up intermittent energy readings," he said, his voice a low rumble. "It's not consistent with any known Earth technology." Thala's tendrils twitched, sensing something amiss. "We need to be careful. This could be a trap." The group pressed on, the tension palpable. As they neared the source of the readings, the forest gave way to a clearing. In the center stood a metallic structure, partially camouflaged by foliage. "It's a bunker," one of the human soldiers muttered, his eyes narrowing. "But not one of ours." Cade approached cautiously, his eyes scanning for any sign of danger. Could it be another alien presence? Before anyone could respond, a low hum filled the air, growing louder with each passing second. The ground vibrated beneath their feet, and the structure's door slid open with a hiss. From the darkness emerged a tall figure, its form sleek and angular, unlike any human or Zerfaxian. "Identify yourselves," the figure demanded, its voice a metallic rasp. Cade stepped forward, his posture assertive but non-threatening. "We are explorers from Zerfax, allied with local human forces." "Who are you?" The figure hesitated, then spoke. "I am Zeldar, a scout from the Trellorian Empire. We crash-landed here years ago and have been monitoring Earth ever since." Thala's eyes widened. "The Trellorian Empire? They're known for their advanced technology and aggressive tactics." Zeldar's gaze shifted, taking in the mixed group before him. "Indeed, we've been observing and adapting to survive. But now, we face a common enemy, the planet itself." The team exchanged uneasy glances. Another alien presence on Earth complicated matters, but Zeldar's knowledge could be invaluable. Cade nodded slowly. "Perhaps we can help each other. We've formed an alliance with the humans to survive. Will you join us?" Zeldar considered the offer, his metallic features inscrutable. "Very well. But know this, trust is fragile, and betrayal will not be tolerated." As the group made their way back to the camp, the weight of the new alliance settled heavily on their shoulders. Earth's dangers were manifold, and the presence of the Trellorians added another layer of complexity. Yet, with their combined knowledge and resources, survival seemed more attainable. Nightfall brought with it a sense of foreboding. As Cade stood on the perimeter, watching the shadows deepen, he couldn't shake the feeling that their greatest challenges were yet to come. But with newfound allies and a determination forged in adversity, they would face whatever the planet, and their new circumstances, threw at them. The camp was a flurry of activity as the alien team and their new allies prepared for the night. Cade's mind was racing with the implications of their latest discovery. The Trellorians, known for their advanced technology and aggressive nature, were now a part of their fragile alliance. The challenges ahead felt more daunting than ever. Cade gathered his core team, Thala, Jax, and the human Captain Harris, in a secluded corner of the camp. Zeldar stood slightly apart, his presence a constant reminder of the uneasy truce. "We need to discuss our next steps," Cade began, his voice steady. "The Trellorians have knowledge that could be vital to our survival, but we must proceed with caution." Thala nodded, her tendrils quivering slightly. "Trust is fragile. We need to ensure this alliance benefits all parties." Captain Harris crossed his arms, his expression thoughtful. "Our first priority should be fortifying the camp. Earth's dangers aren't going away, and we need to be ready for anything." Jax's rocky exterior shifted as he spoke. "The energy readings we picked up earlier suggest there are more anomalies out there. We should investigate, but not without solid defenses here." Zeldar's metallic voice cut through the discussion. "I have access to Trellorian technology that can enhance your defenses, but I expect full cooperation in return." Cade met Zeldar's gaze, his eyes unwavering. "We will cooperate, but understand this. We will not tolerate any actions that compromise the safety of our people." Zeldar inclined his head slightly, a gesture of agreement. "Understood. Let us begin." The next few hours were a whirlwind of activity. Trellorian devices were integrated into the camp's perimeter, creating a formidable barrier against the unpredictable elements and hostile wildlife. The humans and aliens worked side by side, their combined efforts creating a sense of camaraderie, albeit a tentative one. As night fell, the camp settled into an uneasy silence. Cade and Thala stood watch, their eyes scanning the dark forest for any signs of movement. The air was thick with tension, every rustle of leaves or distant cry of an animal setting their nerves on edge. "Cade," Thala said softly, breaking the silence, "do you trust Zeldar?" Cade sighed, his eyes never leaving the tree line. "I don't know. Trust is earned, and we've only just begun this alliance. But we need their technology. Earth is relentless, and we can't afford to be divided." Thala nodded, her tendrils brushing against his arm in a gesture of support. "We'll get through this. Together." A sudden, loud crash echoed through the forest, followed by a low, menacing growl. Cade's heart pounded as he gripped his weapon tighter. What was that? Thala's eyes widened in fear. Something big, and it's coming this way. The camp sprang into action, soldiers and aliens alike preparing for whatever was approaching. Zeldar activated a device that projected a shimmering shield around the camp, the technology humming with power. The growl grew louder, closer. Trees at the edge of the camp swayed and snapped, revealing a massive, hulking creature. Its eyes glowed with a fierce, predatory intelligence as it sized up the camp's defenses. "Stand your ground," Cade shouted, his voice firm despite the fear gnawing at his insides. The creature roared, charging at the shield with terrifying speed. The impact shook the ground, but the barrier held. For now, Cade glanced at Zeldar, whose eyes were narrowed in concentration. "We need to repel this thing. Any ideas?" Zeldar nodded. "Our combined firepower might be enough. On my signal." The creature slammed against the shield again, cracks beginning to form in the shimmering barrier. "Now!" Zeldar commanded. Energy weapons from both humans and aliens fired in unison, their beams converging on the beast. The creature howled in pain, staggering back before collapsing with a final, earth-shaking thud. Silence fell over the camp, broken only by the heavy breathing of its defenders. Cade lowered his weapon, his heart still racing. "We did it." Zeldar stepped forward, his expression unreadable. "This was just the beginning. Earth has many more challenges in store." Cade nodded, feeling the weight of those words. The alliance had held, but the true test was still to come. As the night deepened, the camp prepared for whatever new threats dawn might bring.